Welcome to Red Wave Novel. Make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.
Supreme God of War. In the Dragon City of Wa Nation, the most important criminal in the world was imprisoned here. At this moment, in a big prison room in the deepest part of the prison, a strong man knelt down in front of a young man. If this was seen by the people in this prison, it would definitely cause a sensation. This burly man was the overlord of this prison. He was a world-class god of death. He had committed all kinds of crimes and killed countless people. When he was caught, Wa Nation sent 10 special forces with trump cards to arrest him. They lost almost half of them before they captured him and imprisoned him. After coming here, Azrael killed the first overlord and became the boss of this group of murderers, but he didn't expect to be defeated by the young man in front of him. Moreover, the other party had only used one move, and he couldn't take it anymore. Looking at the young man, he gasped and said, Who are you? If you lose, answer my question. The young man stood with his hands clasped behind his back and did not answer. He just looked at death coldly. This was their agreement just now. After hearing this, Azrael said in a low voice, I did participate in the incident of the Zhou family, but the people who did it all hid their identities. I only know that the family that invited me to go is the Wang family in the capital. The Wang family? You didn't lie to me? The young man's eyes narrowed slightly, and he felt a sense of oppression from the fierce death fist. He said nervously, You can defeat me in one move. If you are willing to admit defeat, I won't lie to you. Hearing this answer, the young man didn't say anything more. He turned around and opened the iron door. After the door was closed, 2 middle-aged men in military uniforms came forward. They were carrying gold stars on their shoulders, but in front of this young man, they didn't dare to show any arrogance. When one of them saw the young man coming out, he immediately saluted and said respectfully, Leader. I'm fine, you don't have to be nervous. I'm just here to ask something. Do what you should do. Remember, I don't want anyone to know what happened today. After the young man finished speaking, he took a step and left. The two of them looked at their backs as they left, and their tense bodies relaxed a little. Why would a god of generals suddenly come here? I don't know, no matter what, just pretend that nothing happened. We can't touch this level. Zhou Xing, the god of war of the northern border of Yansha, had fought for 8 years and had made countless military achievements. He had once been able to single-handedly block the 8 supreme experts of the enemy country, causing a huge sensation. Because of this, Zhou Xing's name had been listed on the world god roll and he had been conferred the title of god of war. No one could restrain his strength. It was said that he had reached the Saint Realm. At this point, the Western forces did not dare to make trouble. There was once an expert from the Western underground world who didn't believe in this. He fled after committing a crime in Wa Nation, but in just a few days, his body was found in the West. There were only a few words on the side of his body. Those who offend us must be killed even if they are far away. Since then, no one in the Western underground world dared to make trouble. Cloud City. On the tables one by one. Lord, you can't just leave like this. The Northwest needs you. A big man in a military uniform persuaded. Zhou Tian looked indifferent and looked into the distance. Flying Dragon, how long haven't you been home? My home? I've been an orphan since I was 16. I've been with you for 8 years. Flying Dragon said with a deep look, Yes, it's been 8 years. I haven't returned home for 8 years. During these 8 years, I've done the country wrong, but I've done my parents wrong. Back then, I was in an important position and was entangled in the affairs of the Northwest 6 provinces. My parents were forced to die by my enemies, but I was unable to do so. Now, the Northwest is settled. The remaining power of the battle half a year ago is still there. This time, when we go home, we will definitely make our enemies pay with blood. After that, Zhou Tian patted Filong on the shoulder, picked up his luggage, and got off the plane. He did not turn his head back. At this moment, in the Zhou family, Zhou Xing sat on the seat in the conference room. A beautiful woman pushed the door open and rushed in with a nervous look. The moment she saw Zhou Xing, her eyes were wet. Zhou Xing, you bastard. I've waited for you for 4 years. Why don't you die? For 4 years, she, a beauty that countless people in Cloud City had dreamed of, had lived as a widow for him for 4 years. He had been a soldier. He regretted it for 3 years. He regretted not being a soldier for his whole life. She supported Zhou Tianhao. Originally, she didn't want to burst out these emotions, but the more she thought about it, the more sad she felt. She couldn't help it. When he saw Zhou Tianhao, he burst into tears. Zhou Tianhao's heart ached. He smiled awkwardly and said, Sorry to keep you waiting. Have you been well all these years? Not bad. Zhang Xiaoyu felt wronged in her heart, but her mouth was calm. What about the old lady? On the way here. After that, there was nothing to say. Both of them had all kinds of words in their hearts, but they couldn't say anything. After leaving home for 8 years, he finally came back. The Zhou family was a big family in Cloud City. When his father, Zhou Dahai, was alive, he pushed the Zhou family to the peak and once squeezed into the circle of the second-class families in Cloud City. After his father died, the power fell into the old lady's hands and never fell again. Everyone thought the reason for Zhou Dahai's death was an accident, but Zhou Bao didn't think so. After a secret investigation, he found some clues. There was a hidden conspiracy behind this. The purpose of this trip home was to kill the enemy with his own hands. The first person to come in was Zhou Jun, the son of Zhou Tianhao's second uncle. In the generation of Zhou Tian's father, there were 2 sons and 3 daughters. Zhou Tian's father ranked 4th. As the eldest grandson of the Zhou family, Zhou Jun had been a good talker since he was a child. He had always been loved by the old lady. In the eyes of the Zhou family, he was the future heir recognized by the old lady. Xiao Yu, why are you in such a hurry? Who is the man beside you? Seeing this, Zhang Xiaoyu immediately said, Brother, he's my god. He's back from the army. Oh, my younger brother, you're still alive. You didn't even send a message to your family. We all thought you were dead. Hearing Zhou Jun's words, Zhang Xiaoyu was a little unhappy. After all, Zhou Tianhao was the grandson of the Zhou family and his younger brother. Even if he was not favored by the old lady, he didn't have to be so humble. Just as he was about to refute, Zhou said faintly, Big brother, do you really want me to die so badly? Hey, you're kidding, why didn't you tell me when you came back? I drove a Ferrari to pick you up. As he spoke, he stepped forward and sat down, followed by many relatives. Half an hour later, old Madame Zhou pushed the door open and came in with her walking stick. The Zhou family members got up to greet her. Zhou Tianhao also got up and said, Grandma, I'm back. Although Murong Shui was old, she was in good spirits. There was no joy on her face that she hadn't seen her grandson for a long time. She frowned and said, Why didn't you stay in the army? Why did you suddenly come back? I apply to retire from the army. Zhou Tianhao was not surprised by his grandmother's attitude. He was very clear that Murong Shui hoped that she would not come back, so that she could naturally hand over all the properties of Zhou's group to Zhou Jun. As soon as he finished his words, Murong Shui said in a deep voice, Should I change my job? No, it's just a simple retirement. The master of the Dahua region retired from the army and resigned. Once he was approved, there would be an earthquake in the Dahua realm on the day of his retirement. Zhou Xing said seriously. After hearing that, Murong Shui immediately glared at him and said, Don't tell me that you were nothing in the army for 8 years. Back then, the sea used his family to help you. You can't have no achievements, can you? Take out your certificate. I'd like to see what you've been like in the past 8 years. Upon hearing her words, Zhou Bao was stunned for a moment. His certificate was top-level secret. After hesitating for a while, Zhou Xing still took out his certificate. Murong Shui took it, looked at it, threw it on the ground, and slammed it on the table. Bastard. Do you think I'm blind and easy to fool? Your grandfather has been a soldier, and his certificate is like yours? What's on this certificate? How dare you fake it? It really brings shame to your grandfather. Let me ask you, what did you do in the army in the past 8 years? Did you feed pigs, or did you get fired for causing trouble? In the end, you didn't even have a certificate?